Today I'm going to show you how to make fermented pepper sauce right at home. Fermented pepper sauce is a type of hot sauce that is made by fermenting hot peppers and other ingredients. The fermentation process helps to develop complex flavors and can add depth to the sauce. Hot peppers are typically combined with salt and sometimes other ingredients like garlic, onions, and/or spices. The mixture is then left to ferment for a period of time, usually several days to a few weeks, depending on your desired flavor profile. During fermentation, beneficial bacteria break down sugars and starches in the peppers, creating lactic acid and other compounds that contribute to the sauce's flavor and tanginess. The fermentation process also helps to naturally preserve the sauce. Alright, so the first step for our peppers is to wash them. So we're just going to wash them in some water and baking soda. And this is to help remove any of the chemicals that may be sprayed on your peppers. So you just want to mix about a teaspoon of baking soda to 2 cups, every 2 cups of water. Give the peppers a good rinse and let it sit in the water, or float in this case in the water, for about 10 to 15 minutes to help release those chemicals. So while this is here, we're gonna get started on the brine. So while our peppers are soaking in the baking soda and water, we're gonna get started on our brine solution. So here we have some water, we just added in salt. So typically for whenever you're fermenting anything, it's really a little bit of math involved where you have to measure or weigh the amount of water and use 3% salt. But I took the math out of it for y'all just to make it that much simpler. So we skip that step and we just mixing in or dissolving the salt into the water. You could use pickling salt, you could use kosher salt. I prefer sea salt because I find they dissolve a lot easier and better. So now we're going to set this aside and drain off our peppers and bring them to cut them up into smaller pieces. Alright, so here we have our peppers. Right in front of it is the glass jar that we're going to be using to ferment the peppers. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut the peppers into smaller pieces so that we could pack the jar a little more efficiently. Now of course, if you want to remove the white membrane and the seeds, you could do that, but that is where peppers hold most of their heat and flavor, so I am leaving it in. All I did was remove the stems before we washed it. So I'm just going to quarter it. As I said, you could leave this whole, you could cut it in half, or you cut it up as small as you want, because the fermentation will also help to break it down. But in order to get as much peppers into your fermentation jar as possible, you should break down the peppers. So I'm using green peppers. Really and truly the color is up to you. You could use the red, the yellow, you could use a mixture, but I prefer to stick to one color as it helps with the uniformity with the finished product. You know, the green peppers will stay, they'll give you a green pepper sauce. The yellow will give you yellow, red, rather than mixed up or a brownish color if you mix the 3 colors or 2 of the colors. So here I have some fine thyme, bay leaf, and some crushed cloves of garlic. Crushing the garlic helps to release the natural oils in the garlic. Not sure if the camera is picking this up, but you see when I squeeze, you can see the natural oils coming out of the garlic. So we want to take full advantage of these flavorings. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add half of each, and I'll add the whole bay leaf at the bottom as well. And again, you could flavor your fermented pepper sauce how you see fit. Really and truly, there is no right and wrong way of doing this. If some of us here, we love to put pimento in our pepper sauce, or carrots, carili, anything really and truly. So you're going to pack it in good. I'm adding it in and I'm pushing down on the peppers. And of course you could wear gloves if you're afraid of your hand getting burnt a little. Right, so now that all the peppers in, I'm just topping it with the remaining garlic and fine thyme. So lastly, I'm going to bring the water back in. I'm just going to add some vinegar to the water This also adds flavor and will help to preserve your pepper sauce. So I'm just gonna top the peppers with your water solution. Now, in an instance like this, if it doesn't reach all the way to the top, you could simply just add enough water to cover. Lovely. And then some of these preserving jars come with weights, and these are also things you could buy separately, but I like to use onion because the onion also adds flavor to your pepper sauce and it's an excellent weight. So I'm just gonna add in my onion here. Just have to force it down a little bit. Alright. This acts as a natural weight for the peppers because you want all your ingredients to be fully submerged in the water. And then I'm covering it. And that's basically it. You could leave this right on your kitchen counter, somewhere where it can sit at room temperature, which is ideally anywhere between 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. For optimal, the optimal temperature would be about 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And you let that sit anywhere from 5 days or up to several weeks, because the longer it sits, is the more flavor is going to be created. The fermentation is going to further enhance all the flavors of your garlic, your hot pepper, your fine thyme, the onion, the bay leaf. Is going to help marry all those flavors together and intensify the flavors. So anywhere from about a week to a few weeks, and then you could blend and process and turn it into your fermented pepper sauce. Right, so while our green fermented pepper sauce will now go on to start its fermentation process, here I have a 14-day-old hot pepper, yellow Scotch bonnet pepper fermented pepper sauce here that has been sitting for 14 days. Now, as you can see, it's a little cloudy, which is to be expected because what is happening here, as I said earlier, is all the flavors are marrying. The garlic, the hot pepper, the thyme, the flavor, the color, it's diluting into your brine solution and mixing up and coming together. So expect a little cloudiness. So what we're going to do now is we're going to strain off the liquid and blend. Now, but we're not discarding the liquid because this is the liquid you could use to customize the consistency of your pepper sauce, if you will. Because you know, some people like it chunkier. Me, myself, I prefer it a lot smoother. Yeah, but it's really up to you. So just take a look inside. You can see the change in color of the garlic. Let me see. Still firm. You can see the change in color of your fine thyme as well. Yeah, so we're just going to strain off some of the liquid. All right, put this back in here. Just switch this. Now we go into our blender. Of course, if you have a regular blender, you could use that. You can see it's still, some liquid has still remained. So I'm just going to add a little more because, as I said, I prefer it smoother, but this really comes down to your preference. So we're going to cover him up. I'll show you it here before I add the rest of the peppers. Your pepper sauce may smell and act a bit gassy, but that's, again, it's a fermented product, so you could expect that. Those are the natural gases. All right, so we're just gonna add in the rest here and finish blend up. And remember, as I said, if you want it chunkier, you just add less liquid. It really comes down to your personal preference. Right, and there you go. Here the gas is escaping. And there you go, here you have your fermented pepper sauce. This can be stored at room temperature and this will last weeks, if not months, right in your kitchen counter, or of course you could store it in your fridge if you want. And this is a much simpler way of making pepper sauce. The only thing is you just have to have a little patience, let it ferment for anywhere from a week to 2 to even 3 to 4 weeks. But there's no cooking involved. It's a natural process. The fermentation process also helps to naturally ferment your pepper sauce, and this will also continue to develop flavor, intensify its own flavor, and just continue to live its own life. So there you go.